Welcome back to the Nozzleheads All-Star Plant Health Series. Today we are out talking about fungicide application methods and then a little bit on mixing as well for that application. The first thing we always have to remember, and the first thing we love to mention, is that as we're transitioning from applying herbicides to applying fungicides, we have to make sure that that sprayer and that entire spray system is cleaned and it is ready to go for those fungicide applications. So pay very close attention to that system before you move into fungicide spraying. And that'd kind of be our lead off, but when it comes to mixing order and putting different things in the tank for that application, what do you think, Brady?
So we've got the sprayer clean. So now the next step is, how are we going to put these fungicides in the tank and start working from there? And really mixing order becomes important. And this is multiple application methods here, air, ground, whatever. But what we talk about is using still the same thing we've had with herbicide mixing order, and that is the whale or the Dale method. And so we're typically going to start with dries and then move into liquids, and then eventually we get into the EC or the oil base, and then our nutritional products are typically going to be after that. So for example, if we have a dry product, we go in there. We want to get a lot of these products, as we're trying to mix these, we're trying to get them pre-slurried with water if at all possible. We don't want to try to do a mixture all at once where we're trying to shove an adjuvant and a fungicide and an insecticide all together in the same cone and then loading it into the sprayer. What we want to do is work one piece at a time here. And so a lot of fungicides these days are formulated as SC products, and so that's going to be the liquid, so they would go in after any dries that we have. And then after the SC products, then a lot of our insecticides are going to be EC products that we run into. Not all of them, some of them are more water-based and would go earlier. But again, we don't want to try to put these all together, and so again, the ECs are following the liquid products. So the oil-based products are following the water-based products, and then after that, then we move into the adjuvants or the nutritional piece of that standpoint there. Again, one product at a time, trying to get them, as we say, get them wet or pre-slurried if we possibly can. It's going to help us in the whole mixing order because we want a good consistent mix here. Rushing this is not a good tactic because it can lead to problems, and trying to slam everything together in, that's always going to lead to issues as well.
Yes, definitely, and you mentioned it, but whether the application is going to be by air or by ground, mixing order is inherently important. Make sure you pay attention to that, very close attention. And that kind of leads into another of the questions we typically get is, what is a better application method? By airplane, by helicopter, by ground rig? Basically air versus ground, what's the best application method? And quite frankly, and I'll put this bluntly too, that you could do a subpar job with any of those methods. So a good application is a good application. Keep that in mind with how you're setting up whatever you're using to spray, how you're mixing it, and the timing of that application. If you set all those things up, you have the right mix going out, that good application is going to be good no matter the system it comes out of. So keep that in mind.
Right, and that leads us to our third type of application we get questions about is chemigation. And so chemigation is one where we're typically using our center pivot systems in order to apply our products. Couple things to keep in mind with that. This is a little bit different than the other two, where we're looking at vastly different volumes of water that we're dealing with to start with. We typically don't use any adjuvants with this system, and we want to be, if we can be, I typically tell people to be 1/4 inch or less per acre of application when they're doing this. And so when you're looking at that, one of the most important things though to realize with this system is that in most states you have to be a certified chemigator in order to do this, so you need the certification, and then having the right type of system, a good high quality injection system that you can calibrate correctly is key for a successful chemigation. Just like you said, a good application is a good application. If we're doing that with a chemigation type unit, then it needs to be a good injection unit out there, and then follow that with maintaining the type of water. The other thing that comes into play with chemigation is the type of nozzles you have. A lot of times our pivots are set up for fertigation, putting on fertilizer, and they're going to put on these big huge droplets that are designed to get down to the ground. With fungicides, we want finer droplets, that medium fine droplet that's going to stay in the upper part of the canopy. Because remember, with corn, a big majority of our yield comes from the ear leaf up, and so we want to get that covered in that area. We're not trying to put this necessarily all the way to the ground with that. And so again, finer nozzles, making sure that nozzle placement's also good. Typically truss rod height is almost ideal in a lot of cases. You don't want to drop it down the canopy, because then you have to turn around and spray it back up in order to get coverage in your plants. On top of that, maintaining your water volumes. If you can do a 1/4 inch or less, if you can go faster than that, you can go faster. I have guys that have done it with 8-10 hundredths of irrigation out there too as well. With that, that's all our discussion here on application methods with fungicides.